What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. Thanks for hanging out with me. So anyway, before we get started, let's talk about a quick security tip you guys may or may not know about. Freaking iPhone. If you have an iPhone, that thing has got a new toggle on it that is allowing your location, your geolocation, and your name to be sent out to people around you. So if you got your iPhone, pull that bad boy out and go to the private and security little section right there by the yellow. And this is why you're at the grocery store and you're sitting in line and somebody behind you pops up as a recommended friend. This is one of the reasons why. Then you're going to go to the journaling suggestions, okay, and click that, and then you're going to see this discoverable by others toggle. Now switch that thing off. Okay, this is something that's been implemented. You didn't know it's on right now. You didn't even know what was happening. And so essentially like that's why you like are around someone and you they're like popping up as a friend recommendation or something because of that switch right there. It's giving your name, your social media data, your geolocation, all that stuff real time. So cut that thing off. Anyhow, a lot of people are always asking, man, are we ready for World War III? Are we ready for war? Can we handle another war? Well, let me show you the state of our readiness right now.
All too often, I hear leaders talk about providing everyone with dignity and respect like it's an aspiration.
This is a dude, by the way. This is a lieutenant colonel in the Space Force.
Aspirational goal. That's not good enough. Dignity and respect is the bare minimum. It's the floor of where we can be. We must set our sights higher and focus on intentional inclusivity because there are still far too many people out there, not just LGBTQ individuals, that feel marginalized, shut out, or discriminated against.
Yeah, you're right. I feel marginalized and discriminated right now as a white man, cisgender white man.
So for
cisgender is their term for straight guy, by the way.
All of you out there, I ask you to set out your symbols of pride, share your pronouns in your email, particularly if you're a person who doesn't think they need to. Initiate difficult conversations about racial and gender barriers, and share a bit of your vulnerability in a way that draws others in. You all have the power to take intentionally inclusive actions to ensure the multiple perspectives that we know make us stronger as we devise winning warfighting strategies get heard.
Winning warfighting strategies. Our enemies are sitting there sharpening knives and loading magazines, and we're talking about pronouns. Lieutenant Colonel, can you imagine a lieutenant colonel sat down to write that out, and much less stood actually and was able to say that with a straight face in front of a room full of people, and then put warfighting in that same? Yeah. This is nothing more than DEI, division, exclusion, indoctrination. That's all it is. And so a lot of, straight black men now are racist as well. Apparently the Root said straight black men are the white people of black people. You can't make this stuff. You can't make this stuff up, guys. The world is gone. It's gone. It feels counterintuitive to suggest that straight black men as a whole possess any sort of privilege. This whole article talks about straight black men having privileges, and they're saying that they're basically white people. So straight black men are not even safe anymore. It's all gone, guys. The republic is gone. It's upside down. Anyway, so a few days ago, U.S. General said that we're ready to fight tonight. That was the key words. That's why he's seen in the thumbnail there. Ready to fight tonight. General Anthony Cotton, commander of the U.S. Strategic Command, nuclear arsenal, says that STRATCOM forces are ready to go to all-out war with China and Russia as they're ramping up their nuclear arsenal, and they're ready to fight tonight. Let me play the clip, and so you can hear it from the man himself.
STRATCOM forces are ready to fight tonight. and my components will always be ready to fight tonight. So I thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
This hearing is undoubtedly being watched in real time in Moscow and Beijing. And General Cotton, the focus of this hearing will naturally be on gaps and work that's under progress and what the problems are. But I want you to restate what you stated in your opening testimony for the benefit of our audience far away. You are ready to fight tonight with an awesome response to anyone who attacks this country. Is that correct?
The men and women that represent United States Strategic Command are ready to defend if strategic deterrence failure happens tonight. We are ready today.
And the capacity of the triad right now is at an actionable level. We're not, I don't want anybody to get the impression that we're somehow crippled in terms of our nuclear deterrent. You have the forces you need to defend the country and also to impose unthinkable costs on a potential adversary. Isn't that correct?
I do.
Thank you.
Our strategic calculus. It also raises the possibility of simultaneous conflicts with multiple nuclear-armed adversaries. The PRC is surpassing the United States in its number of fixed intercontinental ballistic missile launchers, and projections indicate its nuclear arsenal would encompass approximately 1,000 warheads by 2030. As Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine enters its third year, its reliance on nuclear forces increases as its conventional forces attrit. Beyond Russia's traditional strategic triad, it is expanding and modernizing nuclear options that are not covered by international arms treaties. Last Friday, President Putin stated that 95% of Russia's strategic nuclear forces have been modernized. In short, our competitors are improving their position against the United States and its allies in multiple domains at rates that are far exceeding the pace we've seen just a few years ago. While our legacy systems continue to hold potential adversaries at risk, it is absolutely critical we continue to speed with a.
So anyway, one, do you think we're ready to fight tonight with that lieutenant colonel? And because how many of these high-ranking officers have I showed that we're talking about pronouns? I've shown a slew of them over the past 6 months. Do you really think we're ready to fight tonight? Another thing he said is that essentially Russia and China are moving at a faster pace technology-wise for their nuclear arsenal. They also said that Russia is breaking the treaty. Now, you heard that a few weeks ago. I did a video talking about that where they try to say that Russia is breaking the treaty for their nuclear arms. So what does that sound like? They're obviously trying to be like some predictive programming to let you know, hey, we're probably going to attack Russia because we are they're breaking the treaty. Thanks, Tim. That's what it sounds like. Why would they keep saying this? Russia denied it. I showed a video where Russia denied it, and obviously they would deny it even if they were doing it. But would it not make more sense that they're probably saying this so that we can go all out war with Russia, attack them because of the Ukraine debacle that we've put ourselves in? The other thing is that whether you know this or not, pretty much all Democrat presidents have shut down our nuclear retrofitting. Donald Trump, when he came to presidency, he started it again. He said a lot of our nuclear arsenal had like 50-year-old technology. So we are behind the times. This is a thing, like America has nothing to offer except for being the quote unquote bully, the biggest guy in school. That's it. That's all we got. John, thanks, buddy. That's all we got. So if we lose that edge, what happens? And do you not think that BRICS will not fight together, just like NATO would fight together? BRICS is stout, and now Mexico is talking about joining BRICS as well. Now, some other major developments that's going on is that the reporting from the Taiwan news is that U.S. Special Forces Group would be permanently stationed in Taiwanese territory. This latest news involves the Green Berets being stationed in Taiwan, marking their first permanent U.S. military presence there. So now the Green Berets are pretty much permanently there as military advisors to the Taiwanese Marine Corps. 3-person teams from the 1st Special Forces Group, 2nd Battalion Alpha Company will be stationed at the bases at Taiwan, 101st Amphibious Reconnaissance Battalion, and the Airborne Special Service Company. These are specialized units within the Taiwanese military. Now, they'll be in Kinmen Islands as well as Pinghu Islands. Kinmen is only 6.2 miles away from the Chinese coast. They will also receive instructions on these micro UAVs, these Black Hornets, these little bitty things here. Since last year, the U.S. Special Forces have been assisting Taiwanese Special Forces in learning to operate the Black Hornet Nano UAV, aiding the development of guidelines and instructional materials. So they're training them on these things. They got a permanent base there. They would not put Green Berets there permanently if they did not think something was going to happen. There's so much posturing going on, I believe, and you can see obviously the map here. There's so much going on. We have lieutenant colonels getting up talking about pronouns instead of warfighting, and this is a lot going on. You remember maybe last year I did a video about a Air Force colonel that said that he said we need to completely restructure our training completely with the U.S. every U.S. military branch and actually prepare for this. Now, I think the Marine Corps has been the only group that has really taken steps to prepare for this war, right? Because they would probably be the shock troops per se in this type of battle, because obviously being amphibious. But having permanent special forces on the island is pretty substantial. You may just hear it and brush it off. That is pretty substantial stuff, right? Jay Foom, thanks, buddy. Yeah, our 50-year-old nuke is probably not cyber attack proof. Probably nothing we have is cyber attack proof because we're worried about DEI. We're worried about pronouns. This is the thing. Like I saw a statistics today about doctors, and that only 6% of American doctors were Black. But the way the acceptance is that Black Americans are accepted more than white Americans into doctorate programs, but many of them fell out. So what that tells you is that they're looking at, obviously race, gender, all these sort of things. That's why you see lieutenant colonels in mass that are trans. You're not seeing regular lieutenant colonels. You're seeing trans lieutenant colonels right and left. You're seeing high-ranking officers that are in this in all branches of the military that's practicing this lifestyle. It's because they're not worried about actual war fighting. They're worried about the DEI stuff, and that will lead to destruction. It totally will. There's no way that you're not picking the best man for the job and think you're going to win. If you go to your work tomorrow and pick people based off of who they sleep with or what they identify as, more so based on than what their performance is, how long do you think your team is going to last at work? Because you're not picking the best man or woman for the job. Race, all that stuff, gender aside, you should pick the very best individual for the job, especially when we're talking about national security. But again, this is all political stunts. And this is whenever you look at having career politicians in for 40, 50 years, and all they are trying to do is garner votes instead of what's best for America. It's a popularity contest, But the other thing is that something you're not hearing about is that we're having tons of more infiltration from the northern border. You're hearing about the Mexican border, but you're not hearing about the northern border. Last week, Border Patrol in Maine reported that agents arrested 3 Chinese nationals who were trying to use the cover of darkness to illegally sneak into the U.S. via the northern border near Fort Fairfield. A Chinese national from New York who has already been into the immigration process was arrested in a vehicle nearby. He was attempting to smuggle them further past the legal entry, the legal entry point of America. So basically they would go in undetected. What does that sound like to you? Operative, spies, or soldiers, right? Or all the above. Thanks, Big Joker. So, yeah. So you're not hearing about none of that. Nobody's talking about the northern border. It's crickets. But knowing Canada and knowing the amount of groups that are aiding and abetting the infiltration there in communist ran Justin Trudeau Canada, but you're not going to hear about it. You're only going to hear about Mexico. It's smoke and mirrors, guys. Everything's smoke and mirrors. And, it kind of goes along with like last night. I ruffled a lot of feathers last night's video. It's it's really crazy because the country's divided. It is left and right. But more importantly, conservatives are divided more than left and right is. Conservatives are more divided than left and right are divided. I promise you. Conservatives are so divided, and you wonder why we're losing the war, because conservatives can't stay on the same page. They'd rather attack each other. So if you wonder why they're losing, that is why, because nobody can get on the same page. And maybe they're not true conservatives. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But if you ever wonder why we're losing, that's why we're losing. Read my comment section. You'll see why. You'll really lose hope very quickly. You'll lose hope. Now one thing I do want to say about my comment section versus a lot of other comment sections that I started out teaching a lot of survival tactical stuff. And the weird thing is I didn't know this and I found out very quickly is that leftists by and large are the largest group in the survival realm. I did not know that. They're the ones that's most involved in that. Knives and stuff, they are into that world. So whenever I came out, I remember the first time I said something, I spoke out against Colin Kaepernick, and this was way before I did any even material like this. Dude, I got lambasted. Boom. What are you talking about? These folks are getting slaughtered. Colin Kaepernick's making millions of dollars. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But it's crazy that is probably why I probably got some overhang from that. But I do know that a lot of conservatives are going along with it because a lot of it's normalcy bias. You've heard this term thrown around a lot. Like I showed facts last night. I showed facts, and I'm not saying for you to even take my opinion. I'm just showing you facts. You make your own opinion. You do whatever you want to do. I believe in a free America, and you do whatever you want to do. And instead of considering the facts, you jump to attack. Right? The messenger, someone who's showing you facts to make and that's my whole deal is that I want to show facts so that way you can make a rational decision, man. The thing is that a lot of people, if you look at the populace at mass, is that they look at headlines. Why do you see people get so just they break down in tears whenever you bring up Donald Trump? Is because they read the headlines. Oh, Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump stole money. Donald Trump, blah, 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 blah. This is how it works. They read the clickbait. They go along with it. If you ever go to a page and see someone post about Donald, just go on Instagram and you'll just see the left is just crumbling, man, crumbling. Like they hate this guy, but it's because they read the clickbait titles from the media. It's also like if you ever read Snopes or any of these sort of things, and I've talked about this quite a bit, but they'll try to prove a point wrong. But if you read the article, they wind up proving it right, but they use just some semantics to try to change some verbiage to try to make it seem like it's wrong. People by and large are sheep. And you know that people are sheep. They believe whatever they're fed. They come in during feeding hour, they eat, and they go along with it. SOE, what's up, brother? The man that tells on you looks like you and has the same stickers on his truck. It's further than you're right, brother. You appreciate you, man. And go check out SOE. He does lives, all that sort of stuff. Good guy, great guy, good friend of mine. But yeah, it's crazy, man. You see, like he's saying, the same dudes attack you, and I see that. Speaking of John SOE, tons of the same people that's into the same things I mean, he's talked about this for years, even well before I did. I think what you're talking about this like 10 years ago. He gets attacked by the same group of people that are into the same things as him. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. We live in wild times. But if the bottom line is, if you don't know why we're losing, it's because of that. And why is that important? Because you should plan accordingly. The fact of the matter is no one's coming to save you. No group of people is coming to save you. And you're going to have to do it on your own. That's how it is. And I know a lot of people waking up to that and realizing that. But the world is not in a good place. We are weak. We have lieutenant colonels with pearl earrings and their hair in a bun talking about pronouns. And then a few minutes later, I show a general saying we're ready to fight tonight. Bullshit. We're not ready to fight anything. We are on a road to destruction. No question. Anyhow, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Make sure you drop a comment, help me fight the algorithms. As always, stay frosty, stay strapped, and stay dangerous. Take care.